Following the birth of his daughter Melody, Ronnie Van Zant put his party days behind him. He felt the upcoming tour to promote Lynyrd Skynyrd's Street Survivors album in October 1977 would be a new beginning for the band.
It's a good name, because we're like street survivors, you know. We were, Ronnie, of course, prided himself on being, you know, from the streets. He was streetwise and everything, and that helps, you know, in dealing with what you have to deal with, being in the public like Ronnie was.
He was feeling great. His voice was strong, and he was ready to go.
On the afternoon of Thursday, October 20th, everyone is flying high from a week of sold-out shows. Family members accompany the band to the airport in Greenville, South Carolina, as the group heads to its next concert in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. As the band is preparing to board the plane, the pilot discovers engine trouble, but assures the 24 passengers it's safe to get on. Everyone isn't so confident.
Alan didn't want to because the plane had been sputtering and one engine was bad, and Ronnie just went, oh, if it's your time to go, it's your time, let's go. So he got on, so we just all kind of got on.
Our wives, everybody got scared. Everybody was afraid for us to get on this thing, but we got on anyway because we didn't know better.
The twin-engine plane takes off around 5 p.m. Band members are starting to relax by playing poker, like they did so many times before, as seen in these rare home movies. When the sun begins to set, it finally feels like a routine flight. Everyone is joking around and laughing. But just before 6 p.m., 80 miles outside Baton Rouge, the pilot radios air traffic control that he's low on fuel. As he prepares to make an emergency landing at a small airfield, the right engine stalls out.
Fire's coming out, which scared everybody to death right then and there.
I could see in the pilot and co-pilot, I could see in their eyes there was fear.
While trying to shift the remaining fuel to the one working engine, the pilot panics and accidentally dumps it. A moment later, the second engine shuts down.
It got real quiet, and all we heard was air, wind. And co-pilot came back and said, "Get in your seat. Tell everybody to get in their damn seats right now. We're crashing."
The pilot attempts a belly landing on the edge of a swamp 2 miles outside Gillsburg, Mississippi. But the plane is falling too fast. It begins clipping treetops.
I told Billy that we were going to crash. I went around and played stewardess. I asked everybody to buckle their seat belts, to put their cigarettes out, to turn off any lights, conserve power.
We just kind of all looked at each other and went down.
Everybody was sitting down kind of praying, you know, just real silently, just being like, oh, God, no, don't take my life now, you know, and stuff. And then I remember my heart was like, and I thought I was going to have a heart attack. And I was just watching the pine trees get bigger and bigger. And then all of a sudden, crack. You could hear the crackling at first. And then the initial impact was very violent, very sudden.
The plane crashes into the swamp. On impact, it shatters into 3 pieces. Passengers are violently thrown from their seats.
It felt like being in a solid steel garbage can, rolling down a hill, being hit with 100 baseball bats in the head, body, ankles, you name it.
And I was hurt real bad and broke all my bones and was laying there and looking around at people dying or dead, like Vietnam War or something.
Although he's injured, drummer Artemis Pyle manages to crawl from the wreckage and run for help.
With his ribs sticking out of him, out of his chest, he went uphill, over barbed wire fences, in the woods, almost completely dark now, and 2 foot of swamp muck. We were waiting for the alligators and snakes to come down on us.
I walked to the farmhouse to bring help back to the crash site. My friends were bleeding to death. Every second counted.
Rescue workers have to carry the victims through a mile of swampland. Waiting helicopters and ambulances transport the injured to local hospitals. Band leader Ronnie Van Zant dies on impact.
Ronnie was catapulted when the cockpit buckled under, and he didn't have a single scratch on him. He hit a tree with his head, had a massive head wound, and that was what killed him instantly.
Also killed on impact, the pilot, co-pilot, assistant road manager Dean Kilpatrick, and guitarist Steve Gaines. Steve's sister backup singer Cassie Gaines bleeds to death before help can arrive.
Cassie Gaines died in my arms, and Artemis Pyle's arms too. We were both holding her. She was...
The sheer devastation of the scene shocked everyone, including local residents who witnessed the crash.
My wife and I were out sitting in our backyard, and we heard this plane come over, which it sounded like it was running on one engine. And then all of a sudden I heard that engine go out.
It was just a disaster to me. I've never seen anything like it. And it just hit me hard.
WJXT reporter Tom Wills flew in from Lynyrd Skynyrd's hometown of Jacksonville.
Up there, sitting against the tree, is a piece of an airplane wing, torn away from the rest of the airplane. Lying down there at the base of the tree is the engine. And that back there, that twisted metal back there, is the fuselage of the plane, which sort of was turned around a corner.
It was so shocking to realize that in this seat, somebody died, and in this seat, didn't even get hurt. And there were still things, personal possessions, that were scattered around the ground. I mean, you got an understanding of what a calamity a plane crash is, and how sudden, and how brutal, and how inexplicable.
I don't remember anything about it. It was total instant amnesia, which I consider a blessing.
The loss of their loved ones devastated family members and friends. Steve Gaines' wife, Teresa, will never forget receiving the call that her husband was dead.
All the other wives got calls but me, and then I finally got the call, and I had to call Steve's parents. Then I had to find out about Cassie, so it was all devastating. It's hard to believe.
I didn't believe it, you know. It was just one of those things that couldn't be true.
God is a jealous God. And when God taking him for reasons I don't know.
There was a lot of frustration, a lot of anger, a lot of denial, a lot of pain. You know, I mean, you just go through so many different stages that you know, and you're really not in. I didn't feel like I was in control of anything. You know, I knew that I had Melody. She was the thing that kept me going.
It was sort of like Elvis Presley dying. It was a shock. It was a big shock. They're almost a legend in rock and roll.
2 days after the crash, pianist Billy Powell updated the media about the condition of the surviving band members. Gary Rossington was the most severely injured.
He has 2 broken arms, a broken leg, a broken pelvis, a punctured stomach, and a punctured liver. And he's going to be in the hospital in Jackson, Mississippi for about another month. But Leon's got tremendous amounts of internal injuries, and Alan's got a broken, not a broken neck, but a cracked neck.
Billy was just such a sweet man. It was so matter-of-fact about what he had been through. And it was almost like watching him, I felt like it was a catharsis. Okay, he wanted to tell everybody back home, here's what happened, and this is the latest on these guys. And he almost became like a hospital spokesman, a medical spokesman, you know, giving us updates and that kind of thing. And all the while, he's got these stitches on his face.
As the world mourned the loss of Ronnie Van Zant and the other band members, MCA Records rushed to withdraw the release of Lynyrd Skynyrd's Street Survivors album.
The album cover had a photo of Steve engulfed in flames, and it really bothered Teresa, and so we talked about it, and we asked MCA if they would change it, and they did.
It was just a real basic brotherly like love feeling. Let's not have this cover no more, just make it black for them.
With the loss of Ronnie, Steve, and Cassie, the band's future was uncertain, to say the least.
What about Lynyrd Skynyrd? Will there be a Lynyrd Skynyrd after this?
I don't think so.
Next on Behind the Music, little brother tries to fill some very big shoes.
I didn't really want to do anything that would hurt the name of Lynyrd Skynyrd.
And later, Lynyrd Skynyrd loses another founding father.
Losing a child, that's a war.